Good corporate governance remains fundamental to sustainable long-term economic growth and development. Diminished economic development in developing countries of the world have been attributed to lack of good governance. I am Stephen Ipalobo-Lawson. This is Business Matters. Economic transformation as envisaged by developing nations like Nigeria can only be achieved if the culture of good corporate governance is fully entrenched into all levels of governance in the public and private sector of the economy. Let us take our business update.
On Business Update this week, Etisalat Nigeria, now 9 Mobile. Creative Nigeria Summit fallout. Yes, Etisalat Nigeria is now 9 Mobile. Management of the company were quick to point out that the new name and brand is not a product of circumstances or chance. Rather, it is company's deliberate representation and confirmation of its 080 Niger heritage and evolution over the past 9 years.
This is about trying to emphasize our own brand values, about trying to continue to connect with our base as to what we stand for. It was actually a calculated process.
We believe we have in our hands something that can become iconic and the beginning of pop culture, not just in brand management, but in Nigeria completely.
It was further revealed that the company since inception in 2008 recorded great and significant land masses in the telecom sector, and it's leaving nothing to chance to make even more positive contributions.
The people created the previous brand. The same people are in the organization. The service is not going to suffer. If anything, with a renewed energy in them, the service can only get better.
Guests were also informed that the company is working assiduously to migrate all of its assets to 9 Mobile.
Over the next few days, you will see a total phasing out of the former brand name.
Our new website address is www.9mobile.com.ng.
Management of 9 Mobile says its migration from Etisalat will not in any way affect what the company stands for, which is innovation and resilience. Nollywood Nigerian homegrown film sector is among industry that has grown exponentially, contributing to gross domestic product, considering the conservative project movie producers have to work with. The recent Creative Nigeria Summit, the first of its kind in Nigeria, is set to transform the industry by creating a framework for the industry. The industry, which has demonstrated creativity and innovative financing without government, is now to devise better ways of harnessing the revenue streams that abound in legislation, while government provides enabling environments. But this can only be kick-started when some critical issues are given priority attention.
One of the key issues for us is piracy. The reality of it is that the government response is inadequate. There is no film policy. Somebody should be creating the environment where they all converge, and then people come from all over the world to come and see what is on sale. That is what you call a festival.
We have been talking about the private copy levy, which has been in our law for over 20 years, which has not been put into text. That should be activated almost immediately. There is the National Endowment for the Arts, which is part of our cultural policy, which has never been activated. So there are so many streams of funding that are identified, that can be activated, and then the industry can grow.
The stakeholders who believed that government has no business in doing business says government should limit its intervention for activating policies for good film production, financing of grants, equity, participation, and well-developed distribution structure with the ability to return value chain. They also cited bureaucratic bottleneck in film certification and lack of provision of quality schools for training of technicians, which answers were provided for.
The position now is this: you move in, proper documentation will be done in less than 30 minutes, and if the name has been searched and it has not been registered with us before, then we move into, we issue you invoices to pay into the bank. Plus or minus in a week, all the processes are finished.
We are trying very soon to unveil what we regard to as the National Film Institute mobile training platform. And when that comes on, we will roll all over the 36 states, local governments, as it were, to enhance capacity.
Others says direct funding may not be the solution, but will provide a measure of support, while investors should be encouraged with tax evasion. The summit will now be an annual event. Up next is summary from the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange.
Good corporate governance is about leadership and people-focused institutions working with the people to empower them to reach highest point of productivity and creativity in driving the economy. Welcome to our professionals segment. Hello. Well, you're welcome back. This is Business Matters, your foremost business program that highlights a lot of initiatives, insights, and innovations that can help to promote your business. We're here at this segment where we're going to be having a one-on-one with an expert who is going to be sharing with us on our theme. And today's theme is titled, Good Corporate Governance Essential for Economic Transformation and Sustainable Development. Joining me in the studio is no other person than the president of the Nigerian British Chambers of Commerce. That's the person of Mr. Akin Olawore. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. Good afternoon.
It's good to see you. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening. There is always a good in all of
everything, yes, thank you.
Well, sir, you know, sitting down with an individual of yourself, a man who has demonstrated true leadership in business, in economics, it's a great honor to have you as a guest on Business Matters.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, we're looking at the topic, good corporate governance, essential for economic transformation and sustainable development. Naturally, my first question will always be this. What exactly is good corporate governance? Whether it's good corporate governance or good governance or corporate governance, what exactly is this?
Okay, thank you very much. Let's first remove the adjective of the good first and look at what is corporate governance. Corporate governance is a system of governance that embodies the customs, laws, and the ethos of the organization. Could be an institution, could be government, could be private, could even be family. You know, in which case you have your values, your culture, the ethos, what you believe in, what you will do, what you will not do, and all of these things should be able to speak to your stakeholders. So in which case everybody within that unit, whether company, whether organization, whether government, everybody within that unit of organization flows along with that, and they all know what they need to do. They don't need to be asking somebody, in this situation, what should I do? The system is there. So now, what will make it good? First of all, it has to appeal to the goodness in others. And secondly, too, before people can buy in and be able to flow without necessarily going back and forth to consult or using their own discretion in such a way that they need not to, it all need to have been written down, properly written down. So all we need to do is improve on it. Now, before you can write such a body of stuff down, you need to first of all sit down and look at your goal. What are the objectives of this organization? Where are we going? Who are stakeholders? And do your strategic thinking about that. How do we meet the expectations of our stakeholders in a good way?
Right. Business Matters is a program that throws a lot of light, especially for entrepreneurs out there. You can be an entrepreneur who is a business owner of a Fortune 500 company or of a small company starting up from the scratch. For a lot of SMEs, they don't think once the corporate governance for me. All I'm interested in is to get my product out there, make my money, and make sure that my profit is coming in. Does good corporate governance, as a matter of fact, have a lot of benefit for medium and small scale enterprises?
Oh yeah, because you see, you're small today, but you actually plan to be big. And when you look at sustainability and sustainable business practices, it must flow on the path of corporate governance, and good one for that matter. Because if you don't have rules and customs and the culture of the organization well thought out and well defined and well documented, as you are growing, because don't also forget, let's look at it this way. As an entrepreneur, you start your SME, you are everything.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, you're everything. You are the thinker, you are the doer, you are the driver, you are the marketer, you are everything. Now, as you are growing gradually, you start to realize that you have to drop some jobs because the value they are bringing, to, the time you're spending on them is not translating to the value again. So you employ somebody to do it. So what are you going to be passing down? What will they be doing? As you go on now, you have a driver who gets into road rage every second. And perhaps you are not even cautioning. So it's possible that that person will be raging against the person you are going to meet. And then you park, the person parks and is upset, and suddenly you get out of the car, you realize that the person that you've been raging against is the one who is going to give you the business.
Oh my. That's not palatable.
Oh, so you can see that corporate governance, I mean, it sounds highfalutin, but when you break it down to what it's supposed to be, you say that it is essential that every organization has it. So even as you are starting it, it is good, because then you keep passing it down to the people. Even in terms of your employment, the values you're going to be looking out for and the people you want to employ must align to the values of the company. So that also helps, you know, to cement the governance, and it helps with sustainability. Then you can actually grow. You can actually grow and retire and have people taking over the company and doing it well.
So it's more of creating a business around a system rather than an individual.
That's right. It's around the system, not an individual. It's around the system. That is why you have it as a body of all of the things we have discussed and written that it's a document too. So a document because you also don't want to forget. A document because you want to be able to pass it on. A document because when things are not written down, you will not be able to transmit all of it when you are talking. But when it's written down, what you will find is that another generation, given the new environment, will add on to it and improve on it. It's not going to be the way it started, but they will be able to improve on it and build on what you have done.
Would you say that, for example, a lot of companies in this part of the world don't seem to exist beyond a particular number of years, but from developed nations, you have companies that have been there for 100 years, for 200 years, for God knows how long that is. Corporate governance has a role to play in all of that?
Yes, it does. Though I would rather say that we have more companies in the advanced part of the world who have stayed the course of time than here. But I would not say that it's only here that we have one-man businesses that didn't go beyond second or third generation. It does happen in all parts of the world, but we have more on the other side who have been able to stay the time. Yes, but corporate governance has a lot to do with it, you know, because as they were growing, they were seeing challenges and looking at it that, okay, look, how do we take care of these things? And they say, okay, let's work in this way. Let's work in this. You see, there's just no way that somebody will wake up and say that it's all about money. It's all about profit and be able to stay for so long. The staying power is in what you are communicating to your stakeholders. The staying power is in the benefit and the value you are communicating to your stakeholders. But if you're thinking only about money and profit, you are most likely, you know, going to alienate some part of your stakeholders. And perhaps the only ones you are keeping are your shareholders. Even your shareholders, before somebody comes and says, I want to buy shares in your company, they also want to see that you have good corporate governance, it's not that their money will disappear overnight because it's all around one person or it's all around the family. It is something that is a system, and a system that they can align with.
People can also argue that corporate governance is more like doing the right things at the right time at all times. I mean, would that be a thought that somebody can actually, you know, echo out there?
I would say that when we then ask her to put the adjective good.
Okay. But there can never be bad corporate governance, can there be?
Well, we may not say there can be bad corporate governance, where corporate governance should always be good. But the values may be not up to what we think is good. You see, it also depends on corporate values. You see, if the corporate values are just not there, and the governance is that, but that this is our own value, we must cut corners, we must do this, we must do that, it's part of their own governance system.
That's true. But that still points to that's to bring to point the role of leadership in driving good corporate governance, because you have to look beyond body language this time around. You must be able to create an open, transparent system for people to actually imbibe those values and propagate them. Yeah.
No, obviously, when you talk of good corporate governance, it also involves a leadership by example. It's not just a matter of do as I say. It also has to be as I do. See, the body language must be something that can be read clearly. And it must show that the body language aligns with what is there. You take responsibility. So even
when there are losses, I mean, if the corporate runs,
exactly.
A lot.
As a leader, you take responsibility. You don't look for scapegoats. You take responsibility. Wherever the thing is, you take responsibility. And communication must be open. It must be open. There must be respect. So when there's honest, open communication, then you find that it's a lot easier for people to buy into what has been laid down. And that helps. Because you see, nobody starts to think afresh, wasting time, thinking afresh on what to do. They know this is what the company stands for. This is what the company will do. If I do this, this is what will happen to me. If I do this, this is what will happen to me. This will be good. This will be the sound consequences. And then you just flow. So it makes life a lot easier. You wake up in the morning. You're not thinking that, oh, maybe that person won't like me and ask me to go. No, you know what will happen if you need to go. You know the process. So it puts your mind at rest and you're able to give of your best.
It's a system that is anchored on merit, apparently.
Yes, it has to be anchored on merit.
Okay, for example, state governments are so concerned about tax and taxation. People have also made a case of taxation with or without representation. People have made a case of multiple taxations and all of that. And if I run a company that has been subscribed to codes of good corporate governance, and I realize the environment is as a matter of fact, choking me in my profits, my revenues, and not making my books look good. Do I necessarily have to pay taxes at that point in time? Or is it because I've allowed myself or defined myself as a company with good corporate governance, regardless whether my balance sheet is on a profit or is on a loss, I must still pay my taxes?
Good. One thing I can say is that you cannot get it wrong by doing the right thing.
You cannot get it wrong by doing the right thing.
Yeah, because you see, there are consequences for cutting corners. What you think that you are saving on the bend, you will get on the straight. So if you look at it today and you say, oh, things are tough, I'm not going to pay the tax, I'm not going to do this. Now, is either you are avoiding the tax or you are evading it. If you get somebody to work your books and they can show how you can avoid it legally, it's a different thing. But if you just look at it that, oh, I don't even know what they spend the money on, so I'm not going to pay. Tax issues have no statute of limitation. It will bounce back. It may even bounce back at the worst time. That's one. Two, when you look at it and people think that your organization is doing very well, oh, they're this, they're that, and you suddenly get embarrassed by the taxman coming to seal up the premises. How is that going to affects the company itself.
Shows the company may be hypocritical in all of its campaign.
And before you know what is going on, you start to lose your customers. So what you think you are trying to gain by not paying creates a problem. And then we talked about all your stakeholders. Of course, the government and the taxman is also one of your stakeholders. Are you being truthful to them? You see, so when we try to be clever by half, we get burnt. At worst, you know that we have this tax liability. The challenges are there. And we sit down with the taxman, this is how we will pay. Let's spread it. You know, at least now we have another, is it 9-month or 3-month window now, you know, for forgiveness. Well, okay, we won't need to pay penalty. Just come and pay what you, or even come and work out a payment schedule.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So with that, at least you know you're getting yourself out of that net. You plan it, you work towards it, but your mind is at rest. Nobody's going to wake up tomorrow and seal up the place.
So I just wish we could have more time to discuss this matter. But I'm very sure my producer, we obviously want to work with you again for us to come again and have a talk on a different topic. This has been very enlightening for me. It's been educative for me, and I'm very sure for our viewers out there too, it has been very, very, very educative. Well, I want to say a big thank you, Mr. Akin Olawore, the president of Nigerian British Chamber of Commerce. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Well, that is all we can take on this segment. But please stay tuned. We're going to be coming back with other wonderful, wonderful highlights on our Business Matters program. But remember, you can never go wrong by doing the right thing all the time.
Coming up is our business success tips.
That wraps up our package on Business Matters this week. You can reach us on our different social media platforms, on Twitter, on Facebook, as well as our email address. Till I come your way next week, I am Stephen Lawson. Thanks for watching.